So on October the 27th October, on the year of our Lord 2025, I made I made a video where I declared that the actions that are being committed by the US military under the direction of President Trump, who I support for most of his policies, by the way, I declared that these actions are in fact unlawful and they break international law and they need to stop. I stated that both the actions that were being carried out by the United States on international waters in the Caribbean and the actions that were being done inside of Venezuela without the authorization of the Venezuelan government were unlawful, and that the build-up by the US military around the Southern Caribbean and the actions that have been committed thus far by the Trump administration in perpetual to be dealing with drug trafficking without providing any evidence and the use of lethal force on international waters without proper legal basis and legal predicate was a breach of international law and amounts to extrajudicial executions. I will link that video to the description below. And then it just happens that a couple of days ago, the United Nations agreed with my assessment. And not as if my assessment was original or anything, but because I understand international law to a certain extent. This was issued on the 31st of October, 3 days after I put that video up. I'm gonna link this as well to the description below, where the United Nations Commissioner of Human Rights, Volker Turk is his name, issued a statement for the United Nations stating that these airstrikes that have been carried out by the United States are unlawful. They are unlawful. They violate international law and they violate international human rights law. And they said that they must stop immediately. The UN statement highlights the element of human rights because when they are highlighting the fact that these people who are being killed without a trial, without any evidence of imminent threat of danger to life to Americans, is a serious breach of the human rights of these people. And that extrajudicial killings of people aboard these boats that are being hit by the United States, whatever the allegation might be, are unlawful, which is the case under international law, no matter what the justification has been given by President Trump, who, by the way, I support for probably 90% of what he does. It's just that these actions are simply unlawful. And they emphasize the fact that under international law, the use of lethal force is a last resort action, which has to be exercised once all other avenues have been exercised, which has not been done in this case. And also what is compounding the fact is that the information that has been made available by the United States is very sparse, and it's shrouded in mystery and cloak and dagger, therefore that it can't possibly be justifiable that they can continue to do this the way, like in however way they see fit. And the United Nations is saying that the United States needs to properly follow investigative procedures of investigating individuals who are accused of serious crimes in according to the fundamental rule of law and principles of due process and fair trial, for which the US has long stood for. That's really the issue here at hand, is that governments can't just make claims without providing any evidence, and they can't just make claims and then just kill people without a trial. And because the only time we're killing people without a trial is justifiable is if there's an imminent threat to life for other innocent people. And there is no evidence here that there has been any imminent threat to life. So this lethal force use can't possibly be rationally justified. So I agree with the United Nations, which I seldom ever agree with the United Nations. But on this particular instance, I agree with them. These actions are blatantly unlawful. Blatantly unlawful and illegal, and they need to stop. Cheers.